Friends, family, and thousands of others gathered in Aurora, Colorado Sunday to remember the victims from last Friday's movie theater shooting. Good morning. Welcome to the News Hub. I'm Rolf Winkler. Joining us right away this morning, we have Caroline Porter, Wall Street Journal's Caroline Porter, here from Colorado to tell us about the vigil and about some of the stories of the so far 12 victims. Caroline, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So, the Colorado governor, one comment he made at the start, I guess, is that he wouldn't name the suspect. He wouldn't talk about him.
That's right. And he actually elicited quite a few cheers from the crowd when he said that. I think that there's definitely a backlash against the attention that is being given right now to the shooter, and there's an emphasis being placed on the victims at this time. I think families are really trying to focus in on the memories of those who were lost and those who are still in critical condition.
Tell us about some of those. I know one victim in particular you mentioned in your story. Her family had a particularly colorful memorial for her. Wearing pink, I think you said.
Right, and every family is treating this differently. We've heard a lot of different stories about how that's being handled. I think that it was really neat to see the way different communities, like diverse communities, were coming together. You saw a lot of religious leaders actually gathering their own constituencies or bases. On Sunday morning, we all went to different churches and got a sense of what was happening. And I went to one church service where the sermon title was "We Will Rise," and there's just a lot of mourning and a lot of pain, I think, right now. But it's also uplifting in ways to see how people are kind of taking this as an opportunity to come together. Like you saw that sometimes at the vigil, different groups would kind of pat each other on the back, and there were opportunities for people to kind of turn and face each other and say, thank you.
Tell us about, yeah. I think the mayor of Aurora was sharing some stories about folks in the theater that were helping victims and may have prevented more deaths.
Right. There's definitely
Can you share some of those stories? Are there any of those that can be shared? Or
I don't know that I know all of them specifically on first basis, but I did speak with one woman whose daughter was in the movie theater at the time, and she was telling me how she, when she arrived, she got a call on her cell phone from her daughter, saying that something had happened, and she raced over to the movie theater and said that when she arrived, she just saw so many young people who were helping out. Like her daughter was holding someone's head in her hands, just wrapped in a T-shirt, and one of her daughter's friends actually went back in to get his girlfriend and bring her back out after he had gone out. So I think that those stories are definitely being highlighted right now, but I'm sure there are plenty of them, and we won't get to hear all of them, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. I know there were at least two of the victims were active duty military, at the same base where President Obama landed in Air Force One. And I think there was a third victim who, former military, he'd been on an aircraft carrier for 6 years. Were there any other particular victim stories that stuck out for you?
That's a great question. I think that one that I got to deal with on a more close basis was the story of a high school student named AJ. I spoke with a lot of his family members and also the principal of the school that he attended, and it just seems like he was really full of life, and he reportedly wanted to be an art teacher and things like that. There was also the story of a 6-year-old. I think that's always difficult to hear, frankly, when someone that young loses their life.